Good afternoon to you, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for Monday, July 27th, 2015. Taking a look at what we have going on out in the tropics. Not much, of course. Hurricane Center not expecting anything in the Atlantic Basin over the next 48 hours. And the same holds true for the next 5 days. In the Eastern Pacific, there is a pair of areas to watch. Is it is or are? There are a pair. That's interesting. A grammatical conundrum. How do you say that? We are watching a pair, let's put it that way, of disturbances here well to the southwest of Mexico. Neither of these areas, even though they both have a high and medium chance of development, are a threat to land, and that most likely includes Hawaii. Basically, as I'm going to show you in just a minute, we're in a period of time where the atmosphere globally just really isn't in the mood for producing tropical cyclones, if you will, and I'll show you that in more detail in just a moment. Now, we are watching a weak area of low pressure, pretty easy to see that here in the Gulf of Mexico, just to the northwest of Tampa. Probably not going to do much more than it is now, and that is it's bringing rain to parts of central Florida, heavier rain showers down here to the southwest of Lake Okeechobee, and all of this will eventually move across the state and into the Atlantic, bringing periods of very heavy rain, which in and of itself is a problem, especially if you're traveling up and down I-75, the I-4 corridor, and of course I-95 on the East Coast. Leave extra time for travel, slow down out there, take it easy, and just be aware that if there is any flooding, there is more to worry about in the water in Florida than in most other states. Just keep that in mind. You know, maybe Louisiana and Texas know this too, but I think you catch my drift. Be careful out there. Don't let your kids play in swollen ditches or near flooded creeks and rivers because of what else may be lurking in that water. Now, the Gulf, quite a bit warm, very warm water temperatures here in the upper 80s, so that's not an inhibiting factor at all, but the upper level winds are. You see this here. This is the wind pattern right now showing the shear going right across the top of this system, and that's the key, that the wind is blowing across the top of the low pressure area right through here, and when the wind blows across the top of a developing system, it can't develop because the storms need to go up and then spread out evenly, taking the air out as uniformly as possible at the top of the storm or hurricane or developing system like this one's trying to do. And you can see that pretty clearly here. Let me show you the other version of the upper level winds. Each of these different colored wind barbs showing us the wind speeds at different levels of the atmosphere. And the net result here is that we have a flow that's across the system like that. And you can even see it on the satellite picture itself. Get back to it. There you go. The wind is blowing across, and so you get displacement of the thunderstorms away from the developing low, and so it has very little chance to develop over the next several days. Also not in favor of the Madden-Julian oscillation. I was hinting at this a few minutes ago. Right now, basically in what we call the null phase. In other words, globally speaking, there is no discernible MJO activity, meaning that the upward motion in the atmosphere, that evenly spreading out feature, wide scale, is just not there anywhere on any large-scale event across the globe. That was the GFS. This is the Euro's interpretation, the European model, and it too showing the MJO and the null phase, maybe a little bit of amplification beyond day 10 towards the western Pacific, but for now all is quiet. No real major threats anywhere. And we do have these periods of time where you have ups and downs, and right now we're in a downward phase, and so we don't see any threats pretty much anywhere around the globe. All right? Well, that's it from me for today, and probably the rest of the week since there's nothing else to really talk about. But again, let me emphasize, if you're in Florida and you got this little low pressure moving across you, be careful out there. Really, I'm not kidding about that. Heavy rain can be an issue, especially if it's been kind of dry lately and the road is slick with oil that's dripped off of vehicles over the last who knows how many days and weeks and months. So really take your time out there. Keep the kids out of swollen ditches and certainly away from any creeks and rivers that may come out of their banks. We want you to come back and be able to learn something from these discussion videos. Have a good rest of your week. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. and Hurricane Pro in HD. I'll talk to you next Monday.